Hello, you hear me? Heisel or Hannah, you hear me? Yeah, okay, thank you. So I think the meeting has been stopped. Something went wrong. I'm back again, and I hope you can.
Yes, sir. Hi, sir. I can
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah, good. The meeting has been stopped. We have a technical issue, so I hope the 40 people will join us again. I'm sorry for this second technical issue we had. I wait a couple of minutes.
Hello, sir.
Everybody's joining again.
Hello, sir.
Everybody's back again. Very good. Okay, you're joining slowly, and actually the idea was to do the following thing, to go to the URL I proposed. I'm sorry, I will, once you're back, we are 9 persons back, and I had an issue. The meeting was just broke down. I don't know why. So that's why we restart again.
Sir.
Someone is speaking and I don't hear you. Yeah, anyway. I'm waiting a bit till the participants are back, and then the one who are here, what you can do is go to the URL I proposed.
Your audio, sir.
My audio is not good. You don't hear me? You don't hear me?
Your audio.
Hear you.
You don't hear me well.
I can hear you, sir, very
Good.
well.
Okay, so that then somehow the bandwidth of some participants is not so good. So anyway,
We can hear you, sir.
good. So now I would like you to do the following thing. I will publish now a link again in the chat because the one has been deleted. And actually, I would like to go there if you can. If you have a smartphone or a computer, to go with both of them. So you can stay online here. I hope the bandwidth will not break. I will be silent for 5 minutes. Think about what would be your needs. What are the things you need to in order to have an efficient and an effective teaching. And think freely. I think you say, well, an example, I have an example published there. Feel free to add another one if it works. And in the meantime, I wait a couple of minutes until the others will join. I will go share the screen and show if there is something happening on that page. So I can show you how it works. You press plus, and then you can add my needs as an English teacher or whatever, or you can say STEM, biology, and then you can look at what could be, or maybe you place it here, you change the place, I go up here, and you can write, every one of you should be able to edit this Padlet. So we could gather together. If we have 22 participants now, you should be able to think about everyone and each one of you. I cannot split up into groups. It doesn't work at the moment, but every one of you can think about or take a sheet of paper and write it down. It's also possible. What topics would you like to teach online? What methods are you usually using and you would like to adopt? What do you think are the added values you would like to use? Do you want to bridge some beside of geographical distances? You want to bridge some social distances, or you want to have engagement, you want to have interaction. And then the boundaries, I think one should be for all of us. We encountered it right now. Bandwidth, connection, smartphones, which are not working, computer, which are not existing, time, other topics. So please try to think about that. And it would be nice if some of you could really add some specific needs you formulate here. I will close the screen, and if you don't think that it's appropriate for you to write something there, or if you have some technical issues, we can make an example. Some of you can take the microphone and open it and say, yes, actually, I would like to talk about that. That is my big problem I have in the next half year, where I will be able, or I won't be able to meet my students. This is the issue I have. Give me a solution to that. Feel free to text it there if you're shy to talk, or maybe one of you raises the hand and says, yes, I have something that really affects me. This is my need. Almost everybody is back. Okay, Heisel, when you want to say something, please feel free. You can open the microphone. Yes.
Good thank you, sir. I am a research teacher.
Yes.
I am teaching research to my students, and this is really my dilemma because I am having a hard time on how am I going to teach them the research, the concepts, because they also have the difficulty even if we have the face to face. So I would be happier if you could help me on how I can make this in order to find from a solution or a strategy that and I can best teach my students about research.
Right. Okay, so first of all, you say it's difficult. Conceptual learning is some of the most difficult part. Learning words in a second language, this is something which is easy done with a booklet, with the translation. It's easy done online with a like a sort of an app which asks you, but you are talking about something, it's higher order learning, like concepts, learning about the concept. What is like a sort of a method or a theory in your research area, which is very difficult, and it's difficult presential, but it's difficult also online. It's even more difficult, I would say. So the thing is, actually, you want to learn your students to learn to think in a way which is appropriate in a certain discipline. And of course, learning to think in a way with a vocabulary that is used like in science or in language concepts, or in art or in music, this is difficult. So what are the elements you need to teach them? You need to teach them, first of all, basics about the vocabulary, and that is the easy part. But actually, it's not the part that should be started with, because if you have to learn vocabulary and you don't have any connection to it, whatever it is, presential or online, it is not something which will be very motivating. One thing that you can do with technology, which is a bit more difficult doing just if you have presential teaching, is try to inspire your students with examples. You have to teach about methods in science. So there are people behind of these methods. There are creators of these methods. This creator, they solved problems. They solved big problems. So I think if you talk about, I talk about science, about the science of physics, I talk about mechanics, then you say, okay, we have Newton, and Newton did a big work. Actually, he found gravitational, whatever, and instead of telling them what is G, what is power, what is acceleration, and trying to teach them this concept, you can teach them or show them in distance a movie about Newton. So that means like this media could help them to motivate them to see what happens in the brain of Newton before or once he described that. So that means for me, the use of media could be in this or in distance to engage. It's to help them to engage, to motivate them in order to, after making it a bit more easy to learn the vocabulary, learn the formula, learn the things, or learn the concepts about gravitation. So this is something which doesn't really, the media or in distance can be done. motivating them by saying, look, this is a movie about Newton, this is how he lived, and look, what did he want to solve, what problem did he want to solve. The second thing is actually trying to give them like sort of ideas about how they could at home with easy like tools they have, try to follow up, in this case, to learn about gravitation, this concept of gravitation, of science. So that actually, if you give them like sort of online experiments they can do at home without any tools, and in related to gravitation is quite easy. They need like something, a ball, and they need like a something which is not oblique, and then they can start trying it out. So I think activating them, giving them tasks over online, they can do that at home. And maybe it's even easier than in the classroom, because you don't have to bring all this material. They have it already there, and they can spend time on that. So I think to try to generalize this pattern uh, of how to transpose the idea of transmitting concepts about science, methods, concepts, which is difficult. You could give them tasks to, first of all, to be motivated about solving problems or the people behind of these concepts, and showing how these people really worked on them, how these people solve these problems. First of all, motivating them. On the second hand, giving them tasks online where they can experience these concepts themselves at home with easy tools. It's easier if you're talking about mechanics than if you're talking about quantum mechanics or computer science. There it's a bit more difficult, but also there you find examples. So I think if you really want to teach this very difficult topics, if you want to let them learn deep concept, to learn concepts, these are two examples. Another way you could try to let them interact, which means to let them discuss about their understanding. So this is possible also online. If you say, okay, two of you can try to talk together about, to explain each other what works when you have this ball rolling down like a hill. What happens? So one discusses with the other, and maybe you write it down, maybe you exchange it. And this is also possible if you have like sort of a collaborative sheet like Google Docs, you know that, so they can, one writes, the other one compares, and they interchange their understanding. These are like, I would say, quite easy techniques. We don't need high-end technological background. So the method is easy, the background is like low level. And I think by really inspiring and activating them and giving them tasks which are really real-time tasks in their environment at home, they can really go step by step in direction of getting this conceptual knowledge about techniques. Heisel, was that, does it help you somehow?
Thank you so much, sir. It really helps me a lot. I am now excited to try it in my class. Thank you so much, sir.
So we had now one example, and I'm sure all of you have many other issues. And I was quite general with giving Heisel some hints. I think, Heisel, if you want to set up like sort of your course and you want to let me have a look at it, so feel free. You have my email address in the presentation. Feel free to send me an email, and we can have a chat later on, and can help you about orchestrating this online education. I cannot give you examples because you are the expert in your topic, but I can give you some methods. So feel free to contact me also for the other. This is also I mentioned that to the others, also Cheryl, also May, also Chiritz, also Berlitz, also Rosanna. If you have something you would like to really set up in this specific environment, so go over Jesus or over Cheryl who organized that, and then ask them my contact, and please feel free. I won't be able to answer within seconds because I also have one or the other things to do, but of course I will try to help you out And even better, if you are a couple of teachers, which means 4 or 5 teachers which have similar problems, then the best thing to do is you sit together or you chat together over your channels and try to find out, like, so we would like to do something together and we have an issue, we have questions, then sit down, write down what your questions is, and then try to go back to me, and I will take my time to help you out if I have any idea. So that's actually the way we should start. We could start contacting and we could start interacting to each other. I'm happy to help you. As I repeat again, I cannot recall reply very fast, but I'm sure there will be a way that I find my time to go back to you. Okay, let me go back to the Padlet. I think, oh, nobody wrote something. Oh, you are all shy, so nobody wrote. So maybe you use this tool. I share again the screen so you can see actually. This would be a platform. If you write something there, first of all, you find other colleagues with similar problems, so I can find out some patterns and help you out. And on the second, maybe I will go back to you and I will try to contact you. But there are also other channels. Okay. Do we have another example? I think we still have time for somebody else who wants to say, yes, that's my issue. I want to talk to everybody and ask that question as well. Is somebody else? Just feel free, open the microphone and start talking without raising your hands, because I don't see all of you on the same screen. Yes, who is talking? I don't see you. Ah, yeah, Noemi. Noem, or I don't know. Who is talking? Oh, the URL. Yeah, I give you the URL again. Sure. Oh, I have to write it to everybody. Okay, any other question? Anyone who wants to else I will continue. This is the URL I sent you again. Okay, obviously you're shy to formulate your needs. Take your time. You can also send it tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, or you cannot send it at all. It's fine. It's not that I'm quite busy, so it's no problem. But of course, if there is a way I can help you, I'm happy to do so. Okay, then we go back to my presentation. Let me check where this is. Should be here. Yeah, should be here. Yeah. Okay. You can see the screen, is that correct? I hope you can see my screen. I don't get any replies. You can see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, let's go. I ask because sometimes it doesn't work out. So I give you some example about how it should be possible, about one method which is called actually universal design for learning, which may really be a bit appropriate for your needs. First of all, because it's a method which is actually quite, this concept is very, very easy to understand. It's not something rocket science, and it's really appropriate for not only for including all participants with special needs as they targeted here, but of course to including all participants with special boundaries like low bandwidth, like whatever different lacking of tools. So just have a look at that. I hope you can understand. You can understand the voice. Please let me know if you hear the video voice. You hear the sound? Is it working?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
we
Okay.
hear that.
The audio is not audible, sir.
Pardon? You have a question?
The audio is not that audible.
It's not audible. Oh, I asked if it's audible, then you said yes, but obviously it's not. Okay, then fine. I stop it because it doesn't matter. You have the access on my presentation. The universal design for learning actually is a method about. Oh, no, I jumped around too much. Universal design for learning is actually a method describing how you can try to address many needs or needs of a very diverse population of students in a very different situation. And that is something you may look at the video. I posted actually the link underneath of the video, the YouTube video. You can watch it later once you have time and once you have big bandwidth. So I will just skip this example of how to orchestrate by using this model of universal design for learning. Of course, there are many other models, and I think as a teacher you were aware and you had in your education also some other models. I think this one is appropriate because the diversity you have is even bigger due to the fact that you cannot really have them together and try to synchronize them at least in spatial and temporal way, because they are somewhere at home, you cannot reach them. So this design principle may help you to have ideas about how to really try to create the community, try to create the motivation, try to create a spirit to really, for all the students you have, to go through this even more difficult way of learning through distance. The reason why the video doesn't work, actually, I can, if you want me to tell you why it doesn't work, the reason why, when I share the screen, I have to activate an option I forgot to activate. So if you want to teach with Zoom and you have the same issues, then the idea is once you share the screen, you have to activate the video for the computer sound, and you have to activate the enhancement for embedding YouTube videos. And if you do so, then you hear the sound. Actually, I hope I can prove it. So I will try again. I hope I can prove it so you can hear the sound. I share the screen again and I activate the computer video. It's like once you activate the screen sharing, you do it. And now we try again. I go back to this to the video, and let me see if it works now. It should actually. Okay. Did I solve the problem? Did you hear the video? The sound, was it working now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that's the way. So
Yes,
actually,
yes.
so now we could hear the video. It's 4 minutes and the sound.
This teacher needs to meet a curriculum goal, and she's got a very diverse group of students. And so does this teacher. And this one. Most do. In fact, research shows that the way people learn is as unique as their fingerprints. What does this mean for teachers of today? Classrooms are highly diverse, and curriculum needs to be designed from the start to meet this diversity. Universal design for learning is an approach to curriculum that minimizes barriers and maximizes learning for all students. Whoa, that's a fancy term. Universal design for learning. Let's unpack it a bit. Let's think about the word universal. By universal, we mean curriculum that can be used and understood by everyone. Each learner in a classroom brings her own background, strengths, needs, and interests. Curriculum should provide genuine learning opportunities for each and every student. Now let's think about the word learning. Learning is not one thing. Neuroscience tells us that our brains have 3 broad networks. One for recognition, the what of learning, one for skills and strategies, the how of learning, and one for caring and prioritizing, the why of learning. Students need to gain knowledge, skills, and enthusiasm for learning, and a curriculum needs to help them do all 3. But every learner is unique, and one size does not fit all. So how do we make a curriculum that challenges and engages diverse learners? This is where the word design comes in. A universally designed building is planned to be flexible and to accommodate all kinds of users, with and without disabilities. It turns out that if you design for those in the margins, your building works better for everyone. Curb cuts and ramps are used by people in wheelchairs, people with strollers, and people on bikes. Captioning on TV serves people who are deaf, people learning English, people in gyms, and spouses who get to sleep at different times. UDL takes this idea and applies it to the design of flexible curriculum. UDL goes beyond access because we need to build in support and challenge. So how do we use the UDL framework to make learning goals, methods, materials, and assessments that work for everyone? First, ask yourself, what is my goal? What do I want my students to know, do, and care about? Then ask, what barriers in the classroom might interfere with my diverse students reaching these goals? To eliminate the barriers, use the 3 UDL principles to create flexible paths to learning so that each student can progress. Number 1, provide multiple means of representation. Present content and information in multiple media and provide varied supports. Use graphics and animation, highlight the critical features, activate background knowledge, and support vocabulary so that students can acquire the knowledge being taught. Number 2, provide multiple means of action and expression. Give students plenty of options for expressing what they know and provide models, feedback, and supports for their different levels of proficiency. Number 3, provide multiple means of engagement. What fires up one student won't fire up another. Give students choices to fuel their interests and autonomy. Help them risk mistakes and learn from them. If they love learning, they will persist through challenges. And remember, always keep in mind the learning goal. Get rid of barriers caused by the curriculum and keep the challenge where it belongs. And that's it.
Okay, I think that was the short video, and the thing which is actually relevant to me is that you really try to see that actually you try to keep on the things that are relevant, and afterwards, once you have them, you try to give them choices. And the good thing, if you have them in the classroom, of course, you can say, you can do that, you can do that, you can do that. That's possible, and that's what you usually do. By using media, you can propose different way accesses, and you present all of them, and they can choose, and each one can go his own way. They are at home, they can do it anyway, or find their way, the path by themselves. Try to get them engaged by motivating them the way, like, of course, by giving them some ideas of others, how they do problem solving, as I mentioned. And that is possible online as well, as it is, of course, even in presential. And of course, try to let them interact to each other. And this can be, in the best case, online, the way we do it now, that we are at the same time synchronously connected. But you have seen the issues we have by this way of communication. The network is too low, the network breaks down. So synchronicity is something that can be overcome by media, which means we can bridge distances. If the connection is slow now and better tomorrow, you store this talk and you can have access to it tomorrow. So the student doesn't need to be here now. He can watch the same thing tomorrow. So this gives you the chance even to have like people which don't have the opportunity to have all the time a connection. They can listen and learn what you want to talk them now, to teach them now, tomorrow, which means if someone is sick in the classroom, they don't have access because they stay at home, or if they're somehow they cannot come because it's raining too hard. By technology, you prepare the thing and they can exceed tomorrow, and try to get this chance to enable also people, students which are far away with low technology. The other thing, how to transmit messages. By using technology, you don't need just to use one channel. Especially if you know that some people in a remote area, they never have the opportunity to join by video conferences. Then what you do, you can like have a talk like I have now. You can broadband it, or you can let it be broadcasted on YouTube, and there you can get the transcript, which is automatically done if it's English, and then you can send the transcript of your talk as a text message And maybe this is much easier to transmit. So you can use SMS, you can use Facebook Messenger to transmit the text of the talk you have had before with the others. So that means by using technology in distance education in low technological areas, you have the opportunity. If you have this technology, if you have the broadband or the connectivity, you have the opportunity to service your students in a way they can get it with their ideas and with their opportunities they have. I will have 5 more minutes. Is that okay for you? I didn't speak 1 hour. I had 1 hour time, but we had an introduction and interaction. Is 5 minutes okay, or do you want me to stop now, or just 2 minutes? 5 minutes okay?
It's
Yes.
okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
So it's important to choose the tool and keep in mind the target audience. Of course, if you have higher or senior high school, you can give them more text. If you have primary school or lower high school, you can use technology to let texts being spoken. So this is also something which can be helped by technology. If you have a text that you want them to read and you have some students with reading disability, nowadays nothing easier than that. As especially if you use English as a teaching language, you can have this text be read by the tool, by the smartphone. So you just have an app which reads what is supposed to be which speaks what is supposed to be read. So actually you can address even students which have maybe visibility, they don't see so well, or they cannot read so well. Anyway, these are a lot of ideas about to use it. One thing I would like to give you two specific examples. One example about such an orchestration, I heard that Jesus had an initiative about collaborative writing using a wiki, and that is something actually I'm also quite into it. I think maybe you remember when they spoke about my curriculum, I did a lot of collaborative writing using wiki. This is actually an approach. What is collaborative writing? The idea, maybe not everybody of you is familiar with it, the idea is that not one person writes a text, but many people write at the same text at the same time, which means you create an artifact which is an effort not by one student but by many. It's like the same thing as if you would open in the classroom a sheet of paper of a dimension of 2 times 2 meters, and all the students can write on that sheet of paper. At the end you have one text written by all of them. And this is something which can be done with very low technology because it's asynchronous and can really foster deep concept learning. And I don't go in depth to that. If you really are interested in that, I think you can address Jesus Encidada because he did some research on that. Or if you're interested in, I can give you access to the book I was participating to read, to write about. This is actually my book, The Wiki Way of Learning. If you are interested in such an approach about collaborative knowledge building, about writing a text together, this is something that can help you out as one example of orchestration. If you have a bit more technological approach, and if you would like to have knowledge transmission, which means if you have students which have access to an audio conference tool like you have now, then maybe you want them not to hear about your talks, but you want to have someone abroad talking to you. You want to have some experts beside of you, which gives to your students engagement, motivation, passion about what they're talking about. This is an initiative I'm also helping to develop. It's called NeoWay.org. There you have seniors which to a specific topic talk to teenagers. So this is an idea about how to use media to enrich your expertise by expertise of people living abroad, far away. And actually, I'm honored to mention that next week there will be such an event, a NeoWay.org event. And actually, I would like to point out that if you have students at the age between 13 and 17, they may participate there. the way you participate here to this event, and there is not just me talking, there are very, very famous people talking. And one of them actually is also, I'm honored to say, is also sitting among us. Jesus Ensilada will be one of the speakers next Sunday. So if you want to listen what he's talking about to students, you can join the same way you can join now by having a YouTube link. But even better, if you have some smart and engaged and passionate students in your class, and if they have the possibility to accede to such a broadband that they can download or have a Zoom connection, please tell them that they can participate by applying to be an active participant to one of these meetings. So this is another way, another example about how to bridge not only spatial and temporal distances, but also bridge social distances. So you have your student living somewhere abroad in the island of Iloilo, talking to another person, to a senior advisor, to a manager, to a pilot, to a diver, to a person who does any political advances, to a scientist which is sitting somewhere, and the question of the teenager will be heard and they can interact directly, so you can bridge this social. Of course, this only works if you have a good internet connection, and this only works, especially this weekend. You can have Jesus Ensilada here participating. So feel free to join and feel free also to ask your students to participate. And then last but not least, 2 minutes. Of course, this lecture could go on and on and on. And I actually, yesterday, I bumped upon an article from Edutopia, and I had the link you can find here. And there's actually, it's a lot of articles about that, but it's written for teachers, and it gives you really like some answers to frequently asked questions where teachers have problems. And actually, these problems, the questions are really not only related to how to teach, but about how the issues of disrupt work. It's addressing how to manage the work-life balance, not only the one of the learners, but also the one of the teacher. Because, of course, if you are teaching online, you can be addressed all the time, night and day. So have a look at these articles to deepen your ideas. So to ask, to maybe to find any answer to such questions. But actually now we are going back to what is your problem. Actually, what are your problems? What are your needs? And this is the next thing we would talk about. We could talk about in a short discussions if you have questions to my presentation. I'm done with it. Thank you very much for your attention. And I hope one or the other of you will approach me so I can help you to solve some specific problem you have with your things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Notare, for a very informative and meaningful discussion about distance learning using technology. At this point, we would like to request Mr. Javan Estete to award the Certificate of Recognition to Dr. Michelle Notare. Sir?
Good afternoon, everyone. It is with great pleasure that we will award the Certificate of Recognition to our speaker for this afternoon in the webinar. So let me read you the citation. Republic of the Philippines, Department of Education, Region 6, Western Visayas, Schools Division of Iloilo, Kaningwan National High School, Kaningwan Lambunao, Iloilo. Certificate of Recognition is awarded to Professor Dr. Michelle Notare in recognition of his valuable efforts rendered as expert resource person on the topic distance learning, exploring technology, platforms, and approaches during the webinar with the faculty and staff on June 22, 2020. Signed, Jesus Ensilada, EDD, Secondary School Principal 1. Let's give Dr. Michelle a round of applause. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this certificate. I hope I will see it also. Can you send it to me so I can print it out and put it in my office? I'm very honored to get a certificate of you, but actually I'm not here for getting certificate. I would be very, very pleased if some of you keep in contact with me and ask really specific questions. Like relate to tools, or specific tools. So just feel free. Maybe you go through Cheryl or the organizer of this meeting, and go ahead. And I hope you can succeed. And think of that. There are not only issues, there are also chances by using technology for teaching. And I hope you will have, and I'm sure you will have, a perfect teaching year for the coming semester, where you will be stuck at home. And I'm sure, and that happens in Switzerland as well, once the students can go back to school and meet you again, they will be so happy that teaching will be also much fun after this crisis. Thank you very much, Jawan, for this certificate. Thank you very much for your attention. And I hope one day I will be there in presence, and I hope I can meet you one day. I will have also connection with the University of Rojas in the north of Philippines, and probably next year I will have a talk there. I will keep you posted. Thank you very much.
And to formally close our webinar, may we call on Mrs. Cheryl Garilao for her closing remarks. Ma'am?
On behalf of Kaniwa National High School family, we would like to express our heartfelt thanks to our resource speaker, Dr. Notari, for giving us great ideas and knowledge about distance education. This webinar will help us achieve our common goal in education, which are to make diverse learners learn and to succeed in life. Thank you all for your cooperation, and God bless us all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Goodbye. Have a nice day. Have a nice evening, and
Thank
enjoy
you
your
so
meal.
much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you so
And
much.
see you soon.
See you soon.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye bye.